everyone, and welcome to the first edition of The Shift. It's when the shift hits the fan. I want to welcome everyone here this evening on behalf of myself, Mark Jeffrey, and my co-host this evening, Linda Layman. We're going to start off telling you just a little bit about us and why we're here. A while ago, 14 years ago, I was diagnosed with stage 4 cervical cancer. I was only expected to live at the time I was diagnosed, maybe the weekend. And then after a few little treatments, they said maybe a couple, 3 months at the best. Well, again, it's 14 years later, and I'm facing some other challenges. Linda herself, and she'll tell you her story, but she's slaying cancer right now, wielding her sword against breast cancer. But that isn't what the shift is all about. The shift is all about all the shifts that happen in our lives. And it's the good shifts of having a relationship and a new relationship, or getting married and having a baby, or getting a great new job, or a brand new car, or your first house. It's all about first. It's all about bad, the things that happen in your life where you get slammed into the wall. You have no idea how to fight back. You don't have the tools. You don't have the skills. You just stand there going, well, what the heck just happened to me? And then there's the ugly. It's the real down and dirty stuff that you don't even want to talk about. You feel that your whole life has just ended. No one to talk to, nowhere to turn, and anywhere that you do go, it's just more bad news. It's hard to stand up to that, and we will throughout our sessions here. We're going to go there. We are absolutely going to go there. We're going to talk about what happens in those moments when your back is against the wall. Physically, mentally, where does strength come from? How do you get it? Why do we end up in these positions? Why do we let ourselves get there? You know, we'll talk tonight with our first event. We're going to be talking about what Linda's going through right now. And the reason I thought it was really important to start off on this foot is because I know this all too well. All of us, right? We need to get healthier, so we have to have a better diet. Do we do it? Yeah, maybe half-heartedly. We have to lose some weight. Do we do the right things? We have to get to the gym. Do we do it? No. A lot of the times, we don't do what we're supposed to do. Our relationship is failing. Do we mend it? Do we work on it? No, we kind of stand around thinking somebody's going to come in with some kind of cape on and fix it for us. We don't do what we're supposed to do. We allow our lives to wrangle us around every which way but loose. What do? Well, Linda, she was in her car driving for about 5 hours, and as if any of you know, driving in your car, you get a lot of time to think. Isn't that when you do your best thinking? I know I do. I wish I would have had my camera and my little recorder half the time, because I come up with the best stuff. It also is a time for me that I can be centered. Nobody else around, just me, the rhythm of the road. And it kind of gets you into that mood. It's almost like meditation is. It's that same cylindrical sound, and you just keep thinking. Well, Linda had some revelations. I wanted her to tell her story tonight, because this is where it begins. This is kind of how we connected. We're kind of going down the road together, but in different lanes. And then we looked over at each other and said, you know what? We have the same story. It's just the beginning and the end. Let's talk about what happens between the beginning and the end. She's there with the sword, and I'm here telling you you can make the finish line. She's been an amazing person in herself, but she's trained, she's a life coach, she's an amazing person just to know. And if that's all you get out of that, is just getting to know this lady, then I'm going to tell you it was worth $1 million right there. And it's absolutely free. So I want you to welcome Linda Layman.
Oh, wow, Mark. You're so sweet. I'm sitting here blushing. Thank you so much for the wonderful introduction. And you know, I think it is kind of cool that I am just now picking up my sword and you're standing at the other end. It's just like, well, I just thought of this. I know that both of us have walked on coals, so it's almost like you're standing on the other side of the coals and you're encouraging me to come on across. And that's an awesome feeling. But just a briefly about my story. It's just been recently, back in November, that I was told those words that nobody wants to hear. I was told, Linda, you have breast cancer, and as the radiologist said, so unceremoniously, I might add, he said, Linda, you've got cancer, and it's got to come out. It's got to come out now. But I'm glad I didn't follow his advice. You mentioned that I have been trained as a life coach, and I truly believe between that training that I received and the years of personal growth study that I have done, it prepared me to deal with this. And instead of going into a huge state of panic, like I know the majority of people out there do, a sense of calm came over me. And it was in that moment, and we could call that a shift in and of itself, that it's almost like a big light came on, a big corridor opened, and it said, and I said to myself, you know what, this is a good thing, because I've kind of been fumbling around with identifying my purpose and the path that I want to walk right now, and it's just like it lit up and said, here you go, Linda. Here's your purpose, and here's your path. And so in that respect, I just have to say that I'm so grateful that this has happened to me. And it's also connecting, or I should say reconnecting with people like you, Marq, who are there to help and encourage and I can toast a glass of wine virtually every now and then. But tonight I wanted to talk about definitely a shift that happened as I was driving back home. I actually am having treatment and being seen by physicians a 5-hour drive from my home, and which again, that's a good thing because it allows us time to think. But going into my treatment, again, ego sometimes gets in our way, and so I was thinking to myself, well, I can kick this because I know all of the right things to do, and I sat down, and in my head I said, well, I'm going to do a better job of picking the foods I eat. I'm going to get back into my exercise program, and there's a real funny story there. I thought I could grow some belly fat to reconstruct my breast with down the road, but so I gave myself permission to slack off. I went into this, and I didn't follow through. I went into my last visit last week, and while we did some tests, and yes, the tumor has shrunk a little bit. It's 1 millimeter. The doctor was displeased that it hadn't been a bigger shrinkage. And so we agreed that, okay, we'll just stay on the same treatment that we're doing for now, and I'm going to go back in 3 weeks, and we're going to check it again. And so on this 5-hour drive back, I was just thinking, okay, well, what happened here? Why wasn't there a bigger change? And I started thinking to myself, well, Linda, what have you done to help your body start getting rid of this cancer? What have you yourself done? You had these grandiose plans, but what have you done? And self-confessions here, I really hadn't done anything. I had started to, but I had fallen back into my same old habits that I had before. I hadn't done anything. And so thousands of people out there, I was depending on a pill and a shot to cure my cancer. I was taking no responsibility for it myself. And you know what, Marq? When we decide to step up to the plate and take 100% responsibility for what's happened to us, how we're going to react to it, and how we're going to take ourselves through it, then and only then can we start to see amazing transformation, and then and only then can we start to see the shift in our lives that we want to see. So I made a promise to myself right then and there, and I actually took a couple of other steps. I said, okay, Linda, you're going to you're going to take action on what you said that you were going to do. From here forward, you're going to take those action steps. And so I can very safely say to you today, yes, I'm making healthier eating choices. My lean meats, I'm including more of those yummy greens. I am back into my consistent exercise routine. And, it doesn't have to be going to the gym and doing a killer 1 hour spinning routine. My exercise and my fulfillment comes from doing yoga. It comes from taking vigorous beach walks, and I have some free weights here. I love to do weightlifting. And, when I do that, I feel fantastic. So I also made a pact with myself that I was going to spend at least 15 minutes every day focusing on energy healing. We can actually take the energy that we have within us, and we can help focus it on where we need the help in our bodies. And then, of course, a big key here is carving out time to visualize myself in perfect health. In other words, visualize the outcome that I want. And when anybody can do that, it doesn't have to be somebody going through a health issue. It doesn't. It can be somebody maybe wanting to go into business for themselves, start their business, get a better job, clear up some temporary financial issues that we're having, or even find and embrace that perfect relationship. You can visualize it. Our imagination is really the key to everything, Mark. It's a beautiful gift that we were all given, and that is that we can build a picture of exactly what we want on the screen of our mind using our imagination. And then we can focus on that picture, and we can start feeling. We can jump into that picture, and we can feel what it feels like. In other words, feel what it feels like to have perfect health. Feel what it feels like to be in that loving relationship. Feel what it feels like to be the CEO of our own company. And do this consistently every day. And when we do that, then the amazing shift starts to happen. We start feeling that things are going our way, but we have to make a habit of it. And, I think it's funny that it's really easy for us to fall back into our old habits, because those habits are in there, a lot of them from our childhood. We may not even know that they're there. But if you think about it, it's just like driving a car. When you first learned how to drive a car, you had to be really, really focused. You had to think about every single step that you were taking along the way. Especially if you were trying to learn how to drive a stick. Now, that was really funny for me. Of course, I learned how to do that in a hay field, and I used to like to pop the clutch and knock my brothers off the top of the haystack. But it took effort. It took concentration. But then once you learn how to drive, it's like your subconscious mind takes over. I mean, Mark, have you ever been driving down the highway and you look around and you always suddenly think to yourself, how did I get here?
Linda, you know what? That's what we all do. We go on autopilot way too often. We're not thinking about what we're doing, and that's why, like you just said, that's why those habits, we just fall right back on them, because they're known, they're easy, and we can do it. And you know what's really bad about that is when our life depends on the fact that we don't do that, we don't do very well at correcting that course either.
Exactly. And it's just, if we think about it though, you look back on some of the habits, maybe some good habits that serve you well, or even some of those bad habits that don't serve you. I mean, they're easy for you to do now. But the same principle, the same process that put them there in the first place can actually help you take them out. I was listening to actually quite a while back, I was listening to Jack Canfield, and this just brought it home, because I know we all hear about 21 days to change a habit, but really, Mark, it's a few more days past that. He told this marvelous story about an experiment that NASA was doing. NASA is, and I'm going to botch the letters, but NASA in the United States is basically the organization that sent them into the moon. And he was talking about an experiment that they were doing. They were trying to train these astronauts, or kind of figure out what weightlessness was going to do to the astronauts. Was it going to make them moody? Was it going to make them sick? What was it going to do? And so they developed these goggles, these concave goggles that they had the astronauts wear, and they could not take those goggles off because they really wanted to make it feel like they were in outer space. And so they had to wear them 24/7 without taking them off. And what they noticed was, and this was a surprise to them, after about day 25, somewhere between day 25 and 27, because let me back up, these goggles made the world for the astronauts upside down and backwards. Can you imagine? You reach out to shake somebody's hand, but you're looking at it upside down and backwards. It's very awkward. But after about between day 25 and 27, the neural pathways in their brains actually shifted, and it shifted everything right again. Everything was now right side up in the way it was supposed to be. And I found that fascinating, and so did they. So they thought, well, this is really interesting. So let's play with this a little bit more. So they did another experiment with those goggles, and they had the astronauts, one group of astronauts, again, wear them for 25 to 27 days. But another group of astronauts, they had them take off the goggles 15 days into it for one day, and then put the goggles back on. And you know what? It took a full another 25 days before those neural pathways shifted again, but just taking them off for a little while and then putting them back on again.
Oh, exactly. That's exactly. And Linda, we see that in everyday occurrences, right? People who are trying to stop smoking or trying to cut their sugar craving. The biggest problem, and you hit it right on the head here tonight, and I think we have a half-hour show here, folks, and we are going to be back. We are going to be talking a lot about this. But you're exactly right. People give up way too soon. And that's where they run into a lot of problems, I think, because they hear this. They hear, if you can do it for 3 days, you're going to be able to do it forever. I stopped for 4 days, and I never picked up a cigarette again. And, all of this stuff, right? And then they think on day 5, 6, 10, 12, they failed. So what do? They go back to the old habit. What do you say to that, Linda? How do they get over that?
That's a great question, and that's, I think, the question that you get hit with all of the time, and that I get hit with all of the time. And Marq, it really takes repetition of the new habit. It takes a desire. We have to want to make this shift in this direction. If what you want to achieve really isn't big enough, you're going to give up at the first obstacle. So we want to think about it, in terms of my health. It's like I want, and now my goal is big. I want to get through this and have perfect health without a bunch of extra chemicals going through my body, without radiation going through my body. I want this. I want perfect health the rest of my life. I have a vision now where I am out in my kayak paddling from my sailboat to land, and I'm 80-something years old, and I am perfect health. I have this vision, and I know that it can happen. And these food choices, now when I look at it and think about what am I going to eat, I think about it from the standpoint of what can I eat that will assist my cells in wielding this sword and destroying this cancer? What can I eat to give my cells the extra boost that they need to easily and effectively take care of this? That's what I want to do. I want to take those reins of control back. And now my vision and my dream is big enough that absolutely nothing is going to get in my way. You know, what's it going to take to get me out of bed an hour earlier so that I can get my meditation and my yoga in every single day? You know, it's the will to do it, it's the desire to do it. And then again, it's the repetition of doing this over and over and over again. And Mark, another thing too is, you know, when we're striving for something, we are going to meet with resistance, because it's that old habit. You know, and we can call him Mr. X if we want to. That old habit is hanging out in there, and that old habit is very, very comfortable. And so when we start making a change and we get emotionally involved with this change, in other words, we're getting excited about the outcome that we want to see, okay? We have this plan and we're excited about it and we're going to get involved with it, and we see ourselves already doing this. Well, that old habit, that Mr. X, is going to get really uncomfortable. And it's going to start throwing up all of the things in front of us that have worked in the past. Like, oh, you know what, Linda, you can go ahead and have that fried fish, and go ahead and have that extra piece of cake. It's okay. It's not going to matter. Nobody's going to care. And, oh, it's going to taste oh so good. I mean, I can hear this little voice in my head saying all of these things. Or, you know what, if you sleep in this morning, that's okay. You know, tomorrow is another day. Well, then tomorrow comes. Oh, tomorrow is another day, and tomorrow and tomorrow. And pretty soon I've got a whole week without doing anything, right? But it's that Mr. X putting up a resistance. Now, one of the things, we can reframe that. What we can tell ourselves is when I feel this resistance, it means I'm on the right track to busting through this barrier that I have and getting rid of Mr. X. And so we can welcome. What do you think about that? Welcome the resistance, Mark. Welcome the uncomfortable feeling, because it tells us that we're on the right track.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Linda. You are absolutely right. You know, and what we're going to do too, my friends, is we are going to post on when the shift hits the fan. We're also going to be posting some things that are going to help you with this. I know one of the things that I've used in the past is doing everything just a little bit different. And it gets your mind in ready for things. Like if you get off of the left side of the bed, get onto the right. If you brush your teeth first, comb your hair first. You know, doing everything just a little bit, just slightly different. Moving your keys where you normally throw them by the front door, moving them to a table or the counter. Doing things like that. Doing luminosity, computer, different things like that sets a tone to your mind, and it starts challenging you. It starts saying, hey, wait a second. Whoa, what's going on here? Did you just want me to start thinking for myself? Wow, what a concept, hey, Linda?
That's an awesome concept, Mark. I love it.
Well, folks, we're coming up on the bottom of the hour here. You do have a chat little thing here as well. We will be taking questions. Unfortunately, tonight, I'm behind the controls here. My friends, I am not driving this well, so I don't know how to work everything on here. But we do welcome, we're on Facebook, both Linda and myself are on Facebook. Many of you have come through that. We're on our sites. If you go to whentheshifthitsthefan.com, you'll find both Linda's sites and my site. And we are going to be talking about things. So if you've got something that really matters to you, trust me, you've got two gals here that have gone through a lot of shift in their lives. And we're going to be talking about all of it. And you know what? There's going to be no holds barred. My life has been quite a ride. I love my life. But most people look at my life and keep saying, oh, you poor girl. Well, the girl that's here today would not have been here at all without all of the things that happened in my life. That's how I can confidently come here on a Monday night and tell you, if you believe in yourself, I don't care where you are, where you live, how much money you've got in your pocket, what your relationship's like, what the doctor just told you or didn't tell you, what your friends say, what your neighbor's car is driving, I can tell you this, that you can live a life, and I know Linda does, live a life that is so amazing inside yourself that the outside part isn't going to matter to you anymore. It isn't going to matter. Linda.
Yes, you're so right, Mark. And the cool thing about that is when you begin to live the life that you want and feel the life that you want on the inside, things start changing on the outside too. You start noticing that wow, I am living the life of my dreams. Yeah, I'm living. I guess I'm a living, breathing example of that. Just in my location, Randy and I always thought that someday we would live at the beach, and again, a lot of that inside work, that using the visualization, and as you said, making little changes, challenging my mind, challenging my brain to think a little bit differently, to do things a little bit differently, and then always taking full responsibility for everything that happens, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And, we live at the beach. People look at us and go, oh, wow, this is so awesome. Well, I think it is. But I also know that we live here because we made it happen. We built it on the inside. And we knew, and we had faith, and we changed some old beliefs that we had to allow ourselves to believe that we could. And then we took those little action nudges that we got from our intuition, and we made it happen. And if we can do it, anybody can for anything at all. Relationships, finances, health, the whole 9 yards. Mark, I'm just so excited about this show. I know we could talk for another 3 hours and not even scratch the surface.
Well, and that's just it. It's we've been talking about this for a while, wondering, like we can get into the state. Folks, I'm telling you, we will sit and we will talk, and it's just amazing things happen for both of us. And that's what we want to share with you as well, is this spirit, the spirit that drives us forward, the spirit that you can take from this one half an hour every week and take into your life, if that's just what it is. It's just the spirit that you can grab onto and hold on to when the tornado is coming at you. When your back's up against the wall, you can say, you know what? There is somebody out there that cares about me. There is somebody out there that wants me to survive, wants me to succeed, wants me to be more than I could ever imagine myself to be. That's us. We're here. So take that spirit with you. We're coming, we're clocking down to the bottom of this half an hour. We really do hope that you have gotten something from this. We are going to have some amazing guests come on our show too. We've got them lined up from people from all walks of life that are all here to do one thing, to help each of us be better. So, Linda, I'm going to leave the last words to you, my friend. Take it away.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. I ditto everything that Mark has just said, that we deeply, deeply care. We want to help. We're reaching out our arms and saying, come grab our hand and let's walk this path, whatever it is. Let's walk it together, and let's help you take control of those circumstances and those situations, so that you're in the driver's seat instead of those situations and circumstances driving you. So again, Mark and I are here, arms open wide, and I'm so excited. I want every one of you to tell your friends and come on back with us. Next week we'll be here every Monday night, and we'll have nice open conversations just like the one we've had tonight. So thank you so much for joining us. And again, find us on Facebook. If there's a topic that you really are interested in hearing us speak about, let us know, and we will be more than happy to help you out. So until next Monday night, just keep reaching for the stars and know that we're right there pulling you along too. Good night.
Good night, everyone.